It's not easy, you know. Living in the pain, living in the lie, living in the fiction is much easier because that's the story you know.
Uh,
How about you, Steve?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I see you have a poster of Lion King there. That's
I do love The Lion King. I
it's
truly do.
another father and son relationship.
It is. Actually, yeah, it absolutely is. I wouldn't have made that connection, but it definitely
Yeah,
connects.
this is a son who loves his father.
This one is.
This one is.
Whether or not Ollie does is a different question.
It's a different question.
Oh, I love it. Honestly, it is a joy today to be speaking with Alireza Khatami, the director of The Things You Kill. Thank you so much for the time, Alireza. I really appreciate this.
It's my pleasure to be here, and thank you so much for giving me a chance.
The Things You Kill is just a beautiful and wild and dark film. But also there's such life to it as well. It's a fascinating piece. Where did it come from?
Uh, it started as I started to look at myself and my own life. I was going through a dark time, evaluating my own life choices. Let's put it that way. And soon I realized that I'm experimenting with my personal narratives. And soon I realized my sisters are ending up in the story and my mom is ending up in the stories. And I don't resist changing them. I let them be because they're much more beautiful than what I could have possibly built to words. So I let them be there. I was just scared showing it. It's at the end of the day, it's a confessional piece, if I put it right. Of course, I don't tell the entire truth, but I'm not lying entirely either. It's an autofiction, what I call it. Autobiographical in many places and fictional because I have to make a cohesive piece of art that makes sense on a rectangular silver screen in cinema.
That's a fascinating concept because I mean we have people who tell stories. Lots of most directors tell other people's stories, and I've heard other directors say, this is influenced or I connect with this character. But as an act of I think you said autofiction,
Yeah.
what is that process like of pouring yourself into a film that is so connected to who you are and yet so disconnected at the same time?
Um, Previously, let me give you an example. Previously, when I was writing, I would see in front of a bunch of white paper and I had to plow through it and find the story at the end of that process. I was writing, looking forward. Autofiction is writing, looking backward. This is something I've gone through. I have processed it. I'm not in the middle of the trauma. I've processed it. I have an understanding, a grasp of what it was. Now I'm looking back and I'm saying, how can I translate this? How can I wrap it in in a format that someone else coming to this chaos can have an understanding of it, of what I went through? That's where the fictional part comes in, right? So this was the difference between writing when you're writing someone else's story or just trying to engineer a piece that creates engagement, right? Oh, how can I keep audience engaging? So this happens or that happens, right? Here is something you've gone through, which is a madness of chaos. How can I create an order for someone else who can understand and possibly something in their heart moves in 2 hours?
Wow, yeah, that's fascinating. And for your family, as you mentioned, with them sort of being in this film as characters, what has their response been? Your sister or your family has seen this film,
I
seeing their lives reflected.
I asked them not to watch the film, and they didn't. Only one of my sisters have seen it.
Hmm.
Um, And it was a very difficult conversation we had, very short, but he called and said, he didn't tell me he went to a festival and watched it and then told me, hey, I watched the film. I said, uh-huh. She said, I'm sorry you went through it alone. I gotta go, bye. that's, that's the conversation we had with my sister, but I'm grateful to my father and my mom who agreed not to watch the film. So
Mm. I would love to hear your thoughts. There's a fascinating line through the film that says, "No one's resentful by nature,"
mhm.
and it seems to hit different than so many extra additional points of dialogue here. And I was wondering, in your mind, if you think, or what does that mean to you that no one is resentful by nature?
I, I think uh, we are born with a desire for connecting to one another, a desire to love. We are born with trust, right? Distrust, resentment, violence is something we have to learn. We have to be taught by the system, right? So that's what I really, really believe. Resentment comes from trauma, something we have gone through and we haven't been able to understand what we went through. Resentment comes when we don't have words
Hmm.
for that feeling, right? If you have words for it, we're not resentment really. It changes, something changes. At least that's my personal understanding of it. And here is we have a character who doesn't know who he really is. All the way to that confession scene with the professor in the university, that he finally gives that question a serious answer. And he goes into the fog. He tries to connect the dots because he's realizing right in that moment that, oh my God, this is what has shaped me to who I am today. Something that happened probably 34 years ago, right? He's finding words for that trauma.
You know, I love that you're talking about finding words because it feels like in this film there's a battle over words in some ways, you know, as he's teaching his course and then, you know, the course is being cut next semester as we find out early on in the film. There's this struggle, but there is as well dialogue. I think you're talking, or not you, I'm sorry, Ali is talking with his sister, and they talk about, do you want kindness or truth?
Yeah.
And I would love to hear for you why that was an important tension to explore within this film.
Um, in my experience, we don't want the truth often. Truth is hard. Truth means looking in the mirror and seeing that you're not as good looking as you thought.
What? No kidding.
You know, looking by, I mean, take it metaphorically, by looking in the mirror and realizing that you have flaws. You have hurt people. Your words have hurt people. Your action have hurt people. You have hurt yourself first and foremost. It's not easy, you know. Living in the pain, living in the lie, living in the fiction is much easier because that's the story you know. So truly opening to a new story and adjusting to a new story, the truth, is difficult. Now, a lot of people think that telling a fiction is kind,
Hmm.
right? But is it? You know, I think it's very unkind to not tell the truth.
Hmm.
You know, I think we don't tell the truth often because we don't have the courage. It's difficult act. It's not like we present it as kindness to the other one, but you are kind to yourself. You don't want to face the fact that you're a truth teller. You know, it's hard. And what is a truth, right? My version is the truth. Your version is the truth. It's a very messy category.
I love that you're saying that because this Ali is a messy character.
Yeah.
And I love that the film opens with the conversation about the dream with killing the light, kill the light.
Yeah.
And I think that that sort of mirrors the journey of his character as these things are stripped away. And having said that, and we talk about truth from my truth, your truth, do you think Ali, I don't want to say what happens in the film or where things go,
Mhm.
is he a bad guy in the film?
I don't, I mean, bad, good or bad is not in the vocabulary of storytellers.
Hmm.
We don't say bad guys. The propagandists do that when you're telling a story for the interest of someone else. But if you're honest, if you're an honest storyteller, good or bad doesn't exist. We're human, all too human. We do things that hurt ourselves and hurts others, and we do things out of kindness, out of good intentions, out of altruistic reasons that is good to others. That makes characters. That's why we go to cinema. That's why we watch stories, because we watch them stumble. It mirrors us. Are we good people? Am I good people? I don't know. Probably I've hurt people. Have I done things that have benefited other people? I think I've done. So we are all messy, and that's the beauty of it.
Hmm.
No, that's beautiful.
I love that. I love that. And I also wanted to ask you too about the theme of, and we sort of talked around this a little bit here, but there's a theme of masculinity here
Yeah.
and trying to understand what that is. And we see his struggles with in his home and his marital relationship, and they seem to feed into his relationship with his father, which takes us in this there's this pull, and of course with his losing his role in the university. In your mind with this character, do you think that he has an idea of what masculinity he's trying to achieve, or does he even know?
I think he believes, because I went and studied literature and I read a couple of feminist books, and at home I cook. Therefore, I don't need to work anymore. I'm good to go, right? And then he has a story for himself, right? This is my story. I study well. I am a caring guy. I buy things from my mom. I go check on him. I even fight with my dad. Therefore, I'm good to go. Then female stories starts coming. And female stories show him that he does not know anything about anything, right? He didn't know what happened to his mother. He did, and one of his sisters says, it's very easy to stay afar and preach. It's hard to come and live here with them, right? So it's a man who has to look at himself, as intellectual as he thinks he is, to realize that life is way more complicated. And the invisible structures have shaped him. Like the university is a good place. We see these pictures of men hanging on flags, large, you know, flapping in the wind. Right? We live in that society, right? How
Mm,
many streets in Toronto are named after women? That's the structure that as a kid we have been raised in it, right? The structure of language. When somebody does something good, their language is so macho. We say, go kill it,
mm,
go break a leg, go tiger, go, right? We forget how charged the language is, these invisible structures that enforces the battle over the words that you call it, right? So this is the part that he has to look at himself and say, I didn't know. He didn't know his father's story. He didn't know his aunt's story. He didn't know his mom's story, his sister's story. So he has to let go of a mono story and construct a more inclusive story that doesn't have simple answers.
mm.
I have to live with conflicting stories. all together. That's humanity. You have to hold this complex life and live it, as difficult as it is.
I really appreciate that. That I think that that's a beautiful and true statement. And it applies so much to this character and this film and this world. Like there are no clear answers
Yeah.
in this space. And honestly, Ali Reza, thank you so much for the time. The Things You Kill is just a wonderful film and so challenging. I really appreciate the chance to chat with you about it.
Thank you so much, Steve. And I really appreciate your question. I've done a lot of interviews, and yours is quite a special. Thank you.
Thank you. That means a lot. Thank you. I
Very,
appreciate
very
it.
beautiful questions. Thank
Have
you.
a
You have a
wonderful day.
wonderful afternoon.
You
Yes, you too.
too. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.